Welcome to the Mortgage Podcast, where we give tactics, strategies, and inspiration to get you to 10 plus loans per month. We talk a lot about how to make a ton of money in mortgage while also being happy and thriving in your personal life. If you want to be a mortgage millionaire, you're in the right place. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mortgage Podcast, where we try and get every loan officer to 10 plus loans a month closed, which means you're making at least $500,000 a year. So that is what this podcast is about. Instead of talking about sales today, I'm actually going to talk about something that is an undercurrent to everything we do, and that is your leadership. It's your leadership to yourself, and it's your leadership to other people. You know, if you think about doing 10 loans a month, you're going to need at least one person on your team. You're going to need to, you're probably working with a branch manager of some kind. You got your underwriters or your closers, people at corporate that you got to keep happy. There's all of these people involved that really help you run your business. And so I stole this from a John Maxwell book. He wrote this book. I mean, it had to be 20 something years ago because it's when I read it, and it always stuck with me. And what he professed was, hey, there's 5 different levels of why people follow you and why they continue to follow you. And it just made so much sense to me. I thought I would repeat it and maybe apply it to mortgage a little bit more. So the first level to leadership is position. By the way, I've got this visual aid. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it talks about, that's kind of what it looks like. The first reason that someone would follow you is because of your position. You're either signing their paycheck or you're their boss or both. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way this works is it starts out as, hey, as you go up these 5 levels, it's the more influential you are, and the more people trust you, and the more people follow you. And so the first one is position. So I got in a fight with my daughter this morning. It's kind of fun story. She asked me to bring her cats over to my house, and she has at her mom's house. And I said, no. Well, I go to work out this morning, and there is 3 cats in my guest house where my workout room is. And I walk in, I immediately smell the cats, and then I see the cats, and I'm like turning red, right? So we had a little discussion this morning about that. And at one point she said, Dad, how come I can't have my cats here? I said, because it's my house. That's position, okay? Now, whether that was right or wrong, I said that, but that's position. Because I'm your father, because I sign your paycheck. That's what position is, okay? And it's that simple. The second one is people follow you because they like you. Now, this is one where in the sales world, everyone's like, God, everyone loves me. I'm super likable. That's not true. I watch people and they lose accounts and they lose clients because they don't know how to develop really strong, quick relationships. And so if you told yourself that, I would be very cautious. I'll take myself, for example. I don't think everyone likes me, right? I can be very charming on purpose. I'm a happy, outgoing person by nature, but that doesn't mean that I woo everybody. But I'm very conscious of it. Like when I meet with someone, I'm thinking, how does this person relate to the world? How do they measure up on a DISC test? If they're say they're investigative personality, detailed like an underwriter or an engineer, I'm going to have to change my personality and slow down and clearly explain things, or they're going to feel offended. They're going to sit across the table and think, that person's not like me. I'm more detailed than they are. I think they're trying to pull one over on me, right? Because they didn't go over those disclosures, okay? Relationship. I have several stories around this, but I had a loan officer, and he told me one day that his son tried to commit suicide, and this is years ago. And so I said, hey, do you mind if I call him? Because he kind of knew of me, and I just called him. We had this great discussion. I just did it. I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to try and do this for this gentleman because he works for me. I just did it because I thought he could use someone to talk to that wasn't his father. Okay. His father's a great person, but sometimes kids open up more to others. So we developed this great relationship to this day. He just sent me an invitation to his wedding. He's getting married. And all this stuff happened like 10 years ago. So when things are hard, a lot of relationship is built by how you take action. And some people shy away and hide. And some people step forward straight into it and said, hey, let's figure this out. Let's have a meeting. Let's figure it out. So relationships is not just, do they like you? It's how they perceive what you're doing for them or with them. And I think a lot of people miss that one. I always tell people, be wary of the super charming man. And I'm sure women do this too, but I'll just speak to men. I've known a lot of men, they're just very charming and they get to a certain level just being charming. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the next level is where I would encourage them to be. Okay, we've got position, we've got relationship, people like you, they want to hang around you. But the next level is results. And when you combine level 4 with level 3, which is relationships with results, that's what gets you to that whole next level. And a lot of people miss this. So people follow you in level 3 because of what you have done. So I'll give you an example. Robin Lavasser is our EVP of sales. Her last year in production did 683 first mortgages with her and 2 assistants. People know that. And then she took this position the next year. So they're like, hey, she went from 50 loans to 100 loans a year to 200 loans to 300 loans to 400 loans to 682 or 683. Because people know that she has results in that area, they know that she knows loans. They trust that she knows how to sell. Now, does she have to do that forever? No, she was a big producer for several years. So the fact that someone's been there, done that, it holds weight. I'll give you maybe an odd example. Say that we were in a meeting and Barack Obama walked in and he's like, hey guys, I'm retired now. I'm just skipping around the country and someone invited me to this meeting. We would all give our time and attention to Barack Obama. Now, maybe he was a Democrat. Maybe you're Republican. You would still not be in awe. Not everyone gets starstruck. Like, I don't really get starstruck, but I respect that he ran the biggest country in the world. I respect that. His results. He went at, one of the younger presidents we ever had. So he did it pretty fast. And then he, obviously has some great stories and learned a lot and has a lot of rug burn, being a president for that long. So that's an example. People start to admire you and follow you because of your results that you've had. Okay. So we've got position, then we've got relationships, which means you're charming and people like you. And then third is you have real results to back it up. Level 2. This is a whole nother level. I call it reproduction. I can't remember if that's what John Maxwell called it or not, but people follow you because of what you have done for them. Let me say that again. They follow you because of what you have done for them. Now, this doesn't mean because you did something really good for someone once that they're going to follow you 10 years later. It means you're a proactive person that is always looking out for that person's interests. And they feel that way. They see that, okay? Lots of examples of this. But what I see a lot of people do is they get stuck in position, which is you just follow me because I'm your boss. That doesn't really work. Then you've got relationships. Hey, I respect my boss and he cares about me or she cares about me. So I'm going to be proactive and help them. The third one is results where, hey, not only do I like them, not only are they my boss, but now I see that their results, they're top 1% in the company, right? So that if I'm an underwriter and I am like the most productive underwriter out of 60 of them, then I'm going to gander a certain amount of respect. Then reproduction is that underwriter who's top in the company takes time to help you whenever you're really stuck on a file. Oh my, that's reproduction. Now, the problem with this one is I think that at the end of the day, most humans are selfish. And sometimes we just do something for people because we like them, because we want to be of service. Level 2 is hard because you don't really have to help anyone in most cases. You can just say, hey, it's their problem. But maybe you could step in and you could make a difference, okay? I'll give you a personal life example. My girlfriend nephew came to live with us. He was in a bad situation in the Midwest. I said, come out here. Now, we had an extra bedroom, so it was okay. What I didn't know is that he didn't know how to get a job. What I didn't know is he's got some real personal life issues that he's having trouble with. So I have met with this gentleman. We went on job searches together. I taught him how to do a resume along with Veronica. I'm pulling out all the stops. He's borrowing a car from me because he didn't have a car. Like I'm pulling out all the stops. Now, one of two things will happen with that relationship. Either he will take it, all this kindness as, hey, they're family. They're supposed to do, they're be entitled about it. Or he will get a job. He will start a career. And one day he's going to, we'll be having a beer and he'll say, Uncle Todd, you were really hard on me, but you really helped me. I'd probably still be freaking homeless if you didn't help me. I hope that he goes to number 2. Right now, we're still in number 1 land, and I'm waiting for that sincerity and that all the push and the weekend class that I went to him with, learning how to do things, that all of that will pay off. Now, I don't know if it will. I'm not doing it because it's Adrian's nephew. I'm not doing it because I just feel sorry for him. Like, I'm just doing it because I think it's the right thing to do. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. We all do stuff like that. But I'm just saying that's an example. Level 2 is about being selfless. And, I've had a lot of people call out to me and, frankly, I have no reason to help them. Like, it's not going to help me, but I always do because I believe in level 2. I believe that good things happen to good people. Doesn't mean bad things don't happen to good people. It means the more good I do in this world, the better it's going to be. I went to about a year and a half ago, I went to a fundraiser for a political candidate. And I had a business partner in some land deals. And he's like, Todd, I really need you to come. I didn't know the politician from Adam, but I went to support him. I gave money to support him, okay, and help this person win re-election. I am the least political person on the planet, but it was okay. I did it to help my partner because he helps me. And when he asked me for a favor, I just did it, even though it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. So that is level 2. Now, the last one, level 1, is respect. People follow you because what you have done and what you represent. I'm not sure how many of us will get here. If you think about it in a spiritual sense, when you talk about Buddha or you talk about Jesus, those would be examples. We don't know those people. They existed a long time before we did, but their teachings and the respect level is still great thousands of years later. And so that's an example. Maybe that's a better example for the Barack Obama example, where he just comes in and you're like, whoa, I mean, you were president of the United States. I'm going to give you respect. Okay. So I would also say about number 1, it's the reason that people do podcasts or books or they're on TV, because if people don't know you, you can't ever ascend to level 1. You can within your family, for example, or within your business, but you're not going to do it beyond that if people don't know you and you don't touch people, which is part of sales and influence. So that's the 5 levels to leadership. I sometimes call this the 5 levels of self-leadership because all of this is within our control. The position thing is your position, but relationships, results, pouring into other people, people respect you because of what you've done and what you represent. Those are all things that we control. You control them as a mom. You control them as a business owner. You control them as a salesperson. You control them as a secretary. Like, everyone controls those 4 things. And so I always tell people when you talk about employee management, I always say, does the person that you're talking about, the person you're working with, do they impress you on a daily or weekly basis? And most of the people say no. Well, that's because that person's not in reproduction. They haven't ascended themselves to that next level where they're just doing unbelievable things because they can. And I had a person tell me years ago, he says, Todd, most humans are just lazy. And this is the opposite of lazy. We're pouring into relationships. We're getting big results, like top 10% results. We are pouring into other people and doing extra things for them just because we can. And eventually, after doing that, after years and years and years, we will probably get to a level 1. My grandfather was a big, really good influence and leader for me. He owned a farm. It was like a family farm. And Grandpa was one of these guys where he had done a lot of things in his career and he helped a lot of people. I had a chance, we were in a hardware store one time, and this gentleman walks up to him and he says, Vernon Kelly? And he's all, yeah. He says, I'm sure you don't remember me. My grandpa was a millwright. He worked on the machinery in mills. And he says, I don't think you remember this, but you flew up to Anchorage, Alaska to our mill and you helped us fix this big piece of machinery. You were up there one day and you worked with me and a small team, and you not only fixed it, but you taught us how to fix it when it reoccurs. And I just want to tell you, that made a big impression on me. And everyone kind of thinks you're a saint around that meal. And you did that 10 years ago. And Grandpa's like, hey, I really appreciate that. I'm retired now, but I love that you shared that with me, and just was kind of humble about it. And then in the car on the way home, he kind of expanded on the story and told me what he did. And at the end of the day, I was like, Grandpa, why did you do that? Like, you didn't have to go up there and help those people. He says, son, called me son, said, son, when you get a chance to help people, you do it every time. Just a casual conversation on the truck on the ride home from the hardware store. But that stuck with me. And Grandpa maybe didn't study this like I did, and he didn't write the book like John Maxwell did, but he lived that way. And this is how you live. It's different. I was in the grocery store last weekend, and the weekend before I went to the grocery store was this middle-aged Mexican lady standing outside on a curb with her like 4-year-old daughter selling strawberries. I didn't know if she had a license or whatever, but I bought a bunch of strawberries for her. And I couldn't even eat all the strawberries, but I gave her a bunch of money, much more than she was asking for these strawberries. The next week, she was in front of me in the grocery store line. Now, I'm smart enough to know that this Mexican lady sitting outside the store with her 4-year-old was not doing that for any other reason than she needed to sell some strawberries to make money to eat. And they were buying two things, a thing of chicken and some bread. And I just I said, ma'am, do you mind if I get this for you? And she just looked at me and kind of teared up, and she's, oh, why? I just said, well, I don't know. I'm happy to buy it for you. I've got to get my groceries anyway, and it's a kind thing I can do today. And she said, I would really appreciate that. It was probably $10 worth of food. I don't even know. But you can do those things as an individual. You have the power to do those things. I'm not saying that to brag on me. I think a lot of people do stuff like that every day. But by doing those things, your life is going to be more successful. And that's really what this is about. We can read it as an academic and say, oh, eventually we get to the point to where people really respect us because we did all these things in life. Or we can just act that way. It's simpler to do number two. And just next time you have the chance to get better results, the next time you have a chance to get to know someone at a deeper level, the next chance you get you can pour into someone, maybe they're in crisis mode, you can pour into them. Or the next time that you have a chance to do something nice for someone, you just do it without thinking about it because it's who you are as a person. And I think that's what we're here to do on this earth. I think Maxwell just put it into a nice, pretty looking visual, but it really is about living a bigger, more fulfilling life. So I hope that helps. This is one you can send to anybody. Send it to someone that you respect. Send it to a friend. Send it to a manager. Send it to a business owner. But anyone can get this reminder. It's not new things, a reminder on how to live a more fulfilling life and be a better leader for yourself and for the people that follow you. Have a beautiful week.